Welcome to Daily English Room. Today's topic is sports. Do you play sports regularly?
I recently started practicing yoga and jogging. Living in Tokyo means I don't have much space for team sports, but I find these activities help me maintain balance in my life. I usually jog around the Imperial Palace Loop, which is a popular route for runners in Tokyo.
What is the most popular sport in your country?
Baseball has been Japan's most popular sport for many decades. We call it yaku here, and it's deeply embedded in our culture. While sports like football and tennis are gaining popularity, baseball still dominates. From school tournaments to professional leagues, the way Japanese people follow baseball reflects our cultural values of teamwork and precision.
What's your favorite sport?
I'm particularly fond of yoga, if that counts as a sport. It helps me maintain balance in my busy life as a graphic designer. But in terms of traditional sports, I really enjoy watching figure skating. The combination of athleticism and artistry really speaks to my creative side. It's like watching a beautiful design come to life through movement.
Do you often watch sports on TV?
I mainly watch major sporting events like the Olympics and World Cup. Being a graphic designer, I'm actually more interested in the visual presentation and branding of sports broadcasts. I occasionally watch sumo tournaments, especially during the major basho tournaments, as it's such an important part of our cultural heritage.
Do you prefer playing sports or watching them?
I actually prefer watching sports. As a graphic designer, I'm fascinated by the visual composition of different sports, the movements, the formations, the overall flow of the game. I enjoy analyzing how different sports are presented and broadcast. That said, I do practice yoga regularly, but that's more for personal wellness than competitive sport.
Are there any sports you don't like? Why?
I'm not very interested in American football. The frequent stops and complex rules make it hard for me to follow, and as a designer, I find the visual flow of the game quite fragmented. I prefer sports with more continuous movement and clearer visual narratives, like figure skating or football.
How do you think sports contribute to mental health and emotional well-being?
In Japan, where mental health issues often go unaddressed, sports provide a socially acceptable way to manage stress. My morning yoga routine helps me maintain creativity in my design work. I've also noticed how solo sports like jogging give people necessary alone time to process thoughts and emotions. It's interesting how different types of sports can serve different emotional needs.
What role should sports play in promoting public health?
Japan's approach to public health through sports is quite unique, with radio calisthenics being broadcast nationwide every morning. As a graphic designer, I've worked on public health campaigns that use sports icons to promote preventive healthcare. I think we need more visually engaging ways to show the connection between regular physical activity and long-term health benefits, especially for younger generations who are becoming more sedentary.
How do you think the relationship between sports and education should be balanced?
The Japanese education system is known for its intense academic focus, but there's growing recognition of the importance of sports. In my design work with schools, I've seen a shift toward creating spaces that encourage both physical and mental development. I think we need to design educational environments that seamlessly integrate both activities, similar to how we approach user experience design, creating a natural flow between different types of learning.
How has social media changed the way people engage with sports?
As a graphic designer, I've seen social media transform sports visual content. We now design specifically for different platforms: Instagram stories, TikTok, Twitter. The rise of behind-the-scenes content has changed how fans connect with athletes. In Japan, even traditional sports like sumo have had to adapt to social media culture, though they maintain a balance with traditional values.
How do most people in your country keep fit?
In Japan, fitness is often integrated into daily life. Many people commute by bicycle or walking. Radio calisthenics, Ragyo Taiso, is still practiced at schools and some workplaces. There's a big running culture here in Tokyo, and you'll see many people running around parks like the Imperial Palace. Fitness clubs are popular among young professionals, but traditional martial arts dojos also attract many people looking to stay fit.
How have traditional sports in your country adapted to modern times?
Sumo in Japan now has international wrestlers and uses modern training facilities. The tournaments are broadcast live on streaming platforms, and there are even sumo-inspired fitness programs in gyms.
What impact do you think virtual reality will have on sports in the future?
From a designer's perspective, VR could create new hybrid sports combining physical and virtual elements. I've seen prototypes where people compete in real time across different countries.
How do you think sports facilities in cities should evolve to meet future needs?
Tokyo's sports facilities should be more integrated with public transportation hubs. We could have mini fitness stations and subway stations for quick workouts during commutes.
What role should sports play in addressing social issues?
Sports could help address Japan's issues with social isolation. Team sports especially can create connections in our increasingly digital society.
How can sports events become more environmentally sustainable?
Japanese sporting venues are experimenting with renewable energy and waste reduction systems. I think all facilities should adopt these practices.
Tell me about a memorable sports event you attended or watched. What made it special?
A few years ago, I attended a sumo tournament in Tokyo that I'll never forget. I'd been commissioned to design some promotional materials for the event, so I got special access to areas usually closed to the public. What amazed me wasn't just the matches, but all the ancient rituals and traditions that happen behind the scenes. I watched the wrestlers performing centuries-old ceremonies before their matches. One young wrestler explained to me the meaning behind each ritual, the significance of their top knots, even the spiritual importance of salt throwing. It completely changed my perspective on sumo. I realized it's not just a sport, but a living piece of Japanese cultural heritage.
What's the most unusual or interesting sport you've ever tried? How was that experience?
As a graphic designer, I'm always looking for unique experiences that can inspire my work. The strangest sport I've tried was definitely human Tetris. It's this crazy Japanese game show concept turned into a recreational sport where you have to contort your body to fit through weird-shaped holes in approaching walls, just like the video game Tetris. My design studio participated in a corporate tournament, and it was hilarious and challenging. The most interesting part was how it changed my understanding of spatial awareness and human movement, concepts that are crucial in design. I actually ended up using some of the insights in a project designing wayfinding systems for a children's museum. The experience taught me that sometimes the most valuable professional insights come from completely unexpected places. Plus, I gained a reputation as the most flexible designer in the office.
If you could create a new sport that combines elements from your culture and profession, what would it be like?
As a graphic designer in Japan, I'd create Design Dojo, a sport that combines elements of traditional Japanese martial arts with principles of design. Competitors would face off in an arena where they have to create designs while moving through kata-like sequences. Each movement would correspond to different design elements. A sweeping kick might create a curve, while a punch could place a strong focal point. We'd use motion tracking technology to capture the movements and translate them into digital designs. The sport would emphasize the Japanese concept of negative space, both in movement and design. Scoring would be based on both technical execution of movements and the aesthetic quality of the resulting design. I actually created a small-scale prototype using VR technology, and it's fascinating to see how different movements create different design styles.
Tell me about a time when sports helped you overcome a personal challenge or difficult situation.
Working as a graphic designer in Tokyo's competitive industry led me to develop severe anxiety. The pressure to be creative on demand, meet tight deadlines, and constantly produce innovative work was exhausting. I started having panic attacks before client meetings and would spend sleepless nights obsessing over projects. Everything changed when a friend convinced me to try rock climbing at an indoor gym. Initially, I was terrified. I'm not naturally athletic, and the height scared me. But I discovered that climbing requires complete focus. You can't worry about work deadlines when you're figuring out your next hold. The progression system in climbing, starting from easy routes and gradually tackling harder ones, taught me how to break down overwhelming challenges into manageable steps. This directly translated to how I approach design projects now. There was this one particularly challenging route that took me weeks to complete. When I finally made it to the top, I realized I had developed a new kind of confidence. Now, whenever I feel overwhelmed with a design project, I go climbing. The climbing community has also become a valuable network. I've even gotten several freelance design projects from fellow climbers.
Looking ahead 20 years, how do you hope sports will have evolved to make a positive impact on society and future generations?
Looking ahead, I hope sports will evolve to become more inclusive and creative. As a designer, I envision sports that blend artistic expression with physical activity, making them appealing to people who might not be traditionally athletic. In Japan, we're already experimenting with this through events that combine sports with visual arts and technology. In 20 years, perhaps we'll have new forms of competition that value creativity and expression as much as physical prowess. I also hope sports will help address social isolation, creating new ways for people to connect meaningfully in an increasingly digital world.
That's all for today's daily English room conversation practice. Thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed this video, like, leave a comment, and hit the subscribe button. See you next time.